It's that time of year again. It is time to head back to school. Students are waking up from their slumber, while teachers are waking up to their living nightmare. I didn't mean to say that in a Batman voice, but you get the point. 90% of new teacher jobs happen because old teachers left their jobs. There's some issue on the numbers, but at the end of the day, a lot of teachers leave. But that's because the job can be torture sometimes if you don't know the right things to do. So let's actually look at them. And here are 10 mistakes every new teacher makes. If you avoid these, you can focus on the other 89 mistakes every other teacher makes. Number 1, trying to be the cool teacher. You already seen these. You know these people. They're like, I want to go into teaching because I want to be the cool teacher. I'm not going to come down hard on the kids. I'm not going to call the deans. I'm not going to fail kids. That's nonsense. You don't want to be a tyrant in the class. I'm not saying that you should do that. Please do not do that. But I am saying you need to be tough. You need to actually understand that when you're tough, when you actually impose consequences, when you fail students, it's for their own good. Nobody's saying you should fail a kid because you dislike them, but at the end of the day, recognize that failing a kid is sometimes a necessity if they're not doing their work. Calling the dean or calling home is a necessity when the kid is disrupting the class so much that they're disrupting their own and their classmates' education. You should have respect for that. And if you don't, because you're trying to be the cool teacher that talks about the latest Cardi B diss track or whatever, don't. Number 2, trying to be a tyrant. This is another thing that a lot of teachers do. Somewhere along the way, somebody tells them, oh, you need to be tough with these kids. You need to be a monster. You need to be crazy. They need to not be able to get to you. That is also wrong. You should not be trying to instill fear in kids. They have to be able to trust you. If you're sending them to the dean for nonsense, if you're sending them anywhere, you're doing it wrong. If you're giving ultimatums like, do this or you fail, kids may do it. A lot of times they won't even do that. But even if they do, they're still not learning. Number 3, planning too little. Some teachers say that I'm just going to wing it because evidently they did amazingly in Communications 101 5 years ago in college. Don't do that. Teaching is about a lot more than just talking. You have to plan activities. You have to plan student timings. You have to plan student modeling techniques. Don't wing it. Number 4, planning too much. Teachers will spend their entire lives planning. They're going to take work home. They're going to sit down spending an hour planning a 20-minute lesson. Don't do that. You'll burn yourself out before you get to the classroom. And trust me, you don't want that. Number 5, isolating themselves from their boss. New teachers be like, if I tell my boss about everything, I'm going to get in trouble. They're going to think I'm a bad teacher. Guess what? You're first year. More than likely you are a bad teacher. We were all bad teachers in our first year. But if your boss finds out, the first time they learn that you're having trouble is when there's a gigantic fight that was happening for like a week and you didn't do anything. Guess what? You're in trouble. Besides, there are sometimes issues, safety issues, violence issues, at-home issues, that if you learn something about a kid, you better let someone know. The opposite of that, number 6, running to your bosses all the time. The principal hired you. They already have a dean. They already have an assistant principal. They do not need to give them another class. So, if you're actually in trouble all the time with a class, talk with someone, talk about school changes or whatever, but please do not take everything to the principal or assistant principal or dean. Not only will they get annoyed with you, and that's tough when you want to get rehired again, it's also the fact that at the end of the day, the kids are not going to respect you because they're going to say, this person clearly can't handle us if he's calling the dean every 10 seconds. Number 7, only calling home for the bad stuff. Let me put this right out there. Calling home a lot of times won't do a damn thing. Because at the end of the day, the parents might not know what to do with the kid either. And here's the other thing. A lot of teachers only call when there's bad news. Kid is failing. Kid hit someone. Kid threw a chair at me. Don't do that. If a student misbehaved and you called home, you better make sure that the next time he's doing the right thing, you call home and let the parent know. Because the parent doesn't want to hear you talking nonsense about their kid. And if the kid doesn't see that you call home for the good stuff, what's the point? Grading too harshly is number 8. You graduated from college. You're a teacher. The kid isn't. So if somebody gave you an amazing lesson plan from 5 years ago that they did in a high-performing school in Stuyvesant or something, and they're like, do this with your students, and your students don't get it, you can't grade them negatively for that. Look at the progress they make. If a kid started out with like a 30 in your class and he's up to a 66, that kid better not be getting a 55 home for the average because he showed growth. You can't control what level your students come in. You can only control how much they grow. Number 9, being too easy on the grading. A lot of people do the opposite. They try to be way too easy on the grading because, look, the kid's nice to me. He doesn't annoy me. Let me just go ahead and give him a 90. Guess what? A nice kid that's getting a 90 is not being told what he needs to work on if he doesn't deserve it. At the end of the day, those kids have to take state exams. They have to go out in real life. So you better tell them what they actually need to work on. If that kid is really, really nice, listens to you, all that stuff, but he deserves a 75 in the class, give him the 75. Or at best, give him like an 80. But seriously, do not, I repeat, do not reward with grades. Grades are actually a show of progress. Number 10, taking work home. The school day ends at 3. Sometimes you have to end up and stay back until like 3:30, 4, 4:30, 5, whatever. Stay late, but do not take your work home. You're going to be working on the weekend. You're going to be working nights. You're going to be doing extra lesson planning and grading. You're going to have no work-life balance, Chief. You don't want that. Seriously, at the end of the day, do not, I repeat, do not take work home. You need some energy and you need some time away from this job because believe me, it drains you. So that's it. These are 10 traps you must avoid, 10 mistakes every new teacher makes. Do these and you should be able to deal with the rest. If you don't, well, you're going to be stuck on these mistakes for a while. And trust me when I say this, teaching is the kind of job where not only do people leave quickly, people get fired quickly too. So seriously, you don't have that much time to start catching your mistakes. These are 10 that teachers frequently make. Make sure you don't. Anyway, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, comment below, and chat with me on @PakistaniPepper at Twitter. If there's anything in this video that resonated with you, be sure to let me know. And as always, just remember, sometimes life's best lessons are in the stories we hear least. This is Pakistani Pepper saying peace out and stay peppery. Good night, guys.